All right, so today we're going to talk to you more about how do I process your information.
So this is going to be interesting. So let's bring in our guest, right? Motivator, Murshidah side.
I like the way he says that. Typical Indian style, you know. Motivator. Suddenly you feel like this Darth Vader sound coming out, no? Murshidah, how are you doing?
Great, yes.
Happy IWD to you as well.
Yeah, International Women's
Another
Day.
example of a woman doing great.
There you go, that's right. Mushidah's achieved a lot.
Happy International Women's Day.
There you go. Now let's start with how do I process your information? What does that mean?
Okay, if you notice, a lot of times, sometimes when you communicate with people, right? When you say something, some people get it, some people just don't get it. Yeah, it's not so much relating to people's intelligences, but it's more relating to how they actually process information.
Right.
Now, why I wanted to address this issue, this topic also is because it's a follow-up of the topic that we have been doing in the past, which is how to understand people. After the part where we talked about who are we to judge, right? We don't want to judge people. We want to be able to work with people with love and respect, understand people with love and respect. And I talked last 2 weeks on personalities.
That's right.
I got a lot of great feedback on that one. And then today I want to talk about how people process information, because how people process information is different. One person processes information differently from another person. All right. Basically, there are 4 types of. There are actually more, but I'm going to talk about 4 types that has been generally laid out in a lot of schools of thoughts. Yeah. This one I'm going to talk about the four people being visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and the auditory digital, or the digital people. Now, what are the visual people? The visual people are people who see things and they be able to absorb, right? If you show them pictures, they get, you know,
they pick up faster.
They begin to understand faster. They like colors, they like beautiful things, they like to see things, they need to see things. So if, let's say, you are talking to a visual person, you have to show them something. If you just talk to a visual person and you talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, or you put them in a seminar room where it's just talking with absolutely nothing around them, no pictures, they'll be like falling asleep, right? But the auditory person, a person who's auditory, they process information through words, through what they listen to. So you put a person, auditory person, in a seminar room with nothing there except a person standing in front and talking and talking and talking and talking, the auditory person will come out, wow, what a great seminar. And the visual person was, what happened in there? No, it was so boring, right? He cannot understand. So
that kind of explains me a little bit.
Yes, a difference, because we don't know. A visual person process information differently from an auditory person. Now, the next type of person is the kinesthetic person. A kinesthetic person is somebody who needs to feel things. Sometimes feeling through emotions, then they understand better. They need to touch it, they need to feel it. So sometimes, you know, if you're a salesman and you're trying to sell something to a kinesthetic person, let them touch the product. Then they'll be able to process it better.
Right.
And if you look at kinesthetic people, and I love to see kinesthetic people in my classes, you'll know them from this. They'll be doing this, you know. When they listen to me, but their fingers will be shaking. And if they happen to be sitting next to an auditory person, they will fight. Can you please shut up, you know. That one is, I cannot concentrate because they keep hearing this sound.
Oh, no.
So that's how people get into fights, right? And for me, I'm a visual person.
Right.
My husband is a kinesthetic person.
Right.
Before we knew about all these things, we used to fight a lot. Why? Because we go to seminars. We love to go to seminars. And being a visual person, I like to sit in front because I get to see and I get to process things better. And he is a kinesthetic person. When we sit together at a seminar, all right, good, the camera is this way, his legs would shake, shake, and he will be like this. Like this, but he'll be listening, you know, his legs shaking, and I will be sitting next to him. I'll be like, can you please stop moving because it's so unprofessional, and it's, you know, I cannot concentrate because I keep looking at his legs. And on the way home, there'll be silence in the car because we'll be fighting, right?
No.
So
you do realize you're saying this on national TV?
Yes, yes. So it is important to know how people process information differently. But then now, you know, that we understand all the how people process information. Like my husband and I, you know, it's okay, we understand each other, so we know how to relate.
There's a balance.
Yes, we know how to relate, and we know how to communicate better to each other. And I'm so glad I get to learn about this before I got my daughter, because my daughter is highly kinesthetic, and I know now how to teach her to learn better. And this is in a survey that's done in the United States. Most school dropouts are of kinesthetic nature. right? I'm not sure about Malaysia's statistics, but 80% of American students who are dropped out are from kinesthetic processing. They process information through kinesthetic means.
Right.
Why? Because when you go to schools, if you see children running around and if you happen to move, what does the teacher say? Shut up, listen, sit down. You know, I'm talking here, don't be rude.
Right.
But that is how the child process information. So if the child doesn't move, it's to them is a nightmare for a kinesthetic person. It's a nightmare to sit there and just listen because they cannot absorb it. You know, and it's not because they've got bad attitude or something. It's just the way they process information.
Okay, now just to hold on to your thoughts now, Murshidah, I know you're always very passionate and it's lovely to hear you talk about these subjects. For you out there, call us because if you want to talk to Murshidah or maybe share something very briefly because we're also running out of time, 2287-2051, 2287-3051. We'd love to hear from you. Now, let's go back to identifying these 4 different categories of people. If there are people out there, co-workers, parents, children, how do we then identify these different categories? Auditory, visual, kinesthetic.
And the last one I haven't not mentioned, which is the digital.
Yes.
The auditory digital, the digital person sees things in sequence. So if you tell them big picture, or abstract nature, they don't get it. They need to see facts and figures. Okay, step 1, what happens? Step 2, okay, what happens? So when you are going to relate to your staff or your employees, when you are dealing with people, your children or your spouse, right? If you understand how they process information, you can show them things that that would make them absorb the information better. So if a person is auditory, you can talk to them, and that is how telemarketers get sales from the auditories.
That's
because
right.
they'll call and blah 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 blah, and the auditory person on the other side, oh wow, they start to visualize the holiday package and everything. Here's my credit card. Whereas the visual person will be like, can you please send me a brochure?
Right.
Or where's your office? I need to see it for the kinesthetic. You know. So the if you know how to other people process information differently, you relate to them differently, right? So sometimes we don't know what categories people are. So if let's say you are meeting a person for the first time, allow them to feel, allow them to listen to what you have to say, show them the visuals and tell them the facts and figures. Then you'll be able to relate to all of them, right? But if you want to know more about yourself or want to identify about the other person's how they process information, what you can do is there are a lot of books out there. You can do surveys, right? Some people, if you're in KL, I always say this, if you're in KL, you can always come and make an appointment with me. I have a very, very detailed survey form to see what kind of the way you process information. You can bring your child and, you know, see
Get
how
them
they
to also be,
see how they do it.
Go through the
and
survey.
I've got also feedback from the last program that they want to see books as well to be shared on television.
Yes.
So this is something that is very easy. I
Law
found
of
this.
Connection.
Yes, I found this at the airport bookstore. By Michael Osher. He's the writer of Law of Attraction. So this Law of Connection, you know, and it's very simple. Of course, there are more detailed, for those people who are auditory digital, there are very, very detailed survey forms that you can get out there. You can look into like thick books on NLP, you know, that is something that you can also find.
Neuro-linguistic programming, yes.
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Okay.
How can we use what we know about these 4 types of people to make our lives better?
Right. When you, what you can do is, all right, most of the time, right, when people communicate with others, they end up in fights because they don't understand how the other person process information. You never listen to me. Why I've been telling you all the time, you never listen to me. You know, because the other person's not auditory. So once you know, you'll be able to understand that these are 4 types of processing information. If you're not sure who on the other side is actually listening, who's actually processing the information, you can do a few things like have visuals, you can let them feel, you can hold their hand, you know, whatever feels comfortable for them, because kinesthetic people like to be touched as well, right? And you talk to them about it and also show the sequences and also the facts and figures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Murshidah, we do have a caller online, so let's see what our caller has to say. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Oh, we missed you. Please call us back. Malaysia, 2287-2051, 2287-3051. Anything you want to share with us on the topic of how do I process your information?
Excuse me.
That's okay. All right. Now, very quickly, before we wind up for today, do we have a caller online? No caller. Okay, we don't have the callers today. So maybe what we can do is just very quickly just sum up what we've mentioned, and again highlight on what you told us in terms of the book and your seminar, where people can come forward and find out these things.
Okay, you can always contact me. You can Google me, Murshidah site, and you can find me online. And then you can send me an email to ask more about how you can actually get to know about all the 4 different types of processing information. Right. And then always remember, because I always advocate love and respect, right? Yeah. Always remember that it's not because the other person is dull or not listening to you or not respecting you. Sometimes it's the way they process information, how they are wired differently, how they come from different environments, different personalities. So with this into consideration, you'll be able to relate to other people a lot better. You'll be able to understand people a lot better. And this is one of the basic steps to get you to succeed in communicating with all types of people and have a lot of people like you.
All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Murshidah. Okay, thank you so much for this.
Have it useful information that you can use, right?
That's right.
Remember, you watched it on Hello On 2.
Yes.
Now we have a
We've got a poem. Right before we end, we'll give you a poem that was written by Sunny Carell. Now, exactly not a poem, but it's a write-up on women and empowerment, and he's titled it The Empowered Woman.
That's right.
Very quickly. The Empowered Woman, go on.
She moves through the world with a sense of confidence and grace. Her once reckless spirit now tempered by wisdom. Quietly, yet firmly, she speaks her truth without doubt or hesitation, and the life she leads is of her own creation.
She now understands what it means to live and let live, how much to ask for herself and how much to give. She has a strong yet generous heart, and the inner beauty she emanates truly sets her apart. Like the mythical phoenix, she has risen from the ashes and soared to a new plane of existence, unfettered by the things that posed such resistance. With that, Malaysia, we bid you adios from Hello On 2, the cast and crew, and our producer, Rafidah. We would like to say Happy International Women's Day to all the women. Take care. We see you again tomorrow.
See you guys.
Bye.